Hey folks, this is Tom from VermiBag. I'll do another quick video just to show you my procedure for doing the separation of worms from castings. It's kind of a two-step process for me, but it seems to work very well for me, and I get minimal worms on my final product, and it really isn't that much effort. It's just basically a little bit more time. These are the containers that I actually put my castings into after I pull them out. First thing I do is I sift the castings through this screen. So then as I pull it out of the bag, I put it into a Lowe's mortar tray. Then it goes through this. And any clumps or big chunks of worms and stuff that stay in this sifter, I throw back into the bin. And then all the remaining stuff that is in this lower bin are the items that are over here. Then once these are full, I stack them up. Each one of these will weigh about 20 pounds. So I have 6 of them here. So there's about 120 pounds worth of castings here. Now these have been sitting here several months, and you can look at it. You can tell they've been worked over even more. There's worms in here, and there's a lot of cocoons that have hatched. The material's real nice. It's very moist. But there's still a fair amount of worms in here. And over the 2-month period they've been sitting here, even more worms have hatched. All the cocoons have hatched. So, see, there's a worm right there. So what I'm going to do now, my final step on doing this all the time, is to take these castings right here, so these 6 trays, and I'm going to dump 2 of them into a Lowe's mortar tray, put one of those bait containers that I use. It's basically just a Tupperware container. I have holes drilled in. Put some food in it. Cover it up, set it in the middle of it, and give it about a week. Let the worms migrate into that bait. And they're going to go to that bait quickly because they've been in here for 2 months working on this stuff, and there's really no food left in here, so they're pretty hungry. So you give them some food in a container and they're going to go to it pretty fast. So I want to set this up and just show you real quickly. Just dump a couple of them up there and just show you how I'm going to do it. Okay, so basically I'm just going to take 2 of these containers and put 2 in each one of these Lowe's mortar trays. And then again, I'll put one of these bait trays that I make, put some good food inside of it, put it in the center of it, and let it sit for a week or so and get most of the worms. Then these castings will be ready to put out on the garden. So now I also grabbed a little spatula. It works pretty good for scraping out these containers. Amazing what this stuff smells like. It really smells fresh. I mean, really, really, really fresh smelling material. So I'm going to bring you in closer and show you what this looks like. So you can see this material is really worked over well by the worms. I mean, it's absolutely the perfect consistency. So again, these have probably been in these trays for a good 2 months, I suppose. They've been sifted once through that sifter I showed you, which is about an 1/8-inch screen. And but I did this once before, and I'm curious if it's going to work out just as well. It doesn't look like there's that many worms in here. I mean, when I dig through this, just sifting with my hands, I mean, I see an occasional worm here and there, but I know there's a lot of worms in here because this material is much more worked over than it was when I put it in there. I mean, you can see the top of it is just this fine, when they're in the trays, just a fine layer of compost that's been worked over. So basically, same thing. I'm going to level this stuff out, and then right here in the center section, I'm going to dig all the way down to the bottom of the mortar tray. I'm going to hollow it out here, and I'm going to place one of these bait trays. Make sure it's in there well. I don't have any food thawed out. I forgot to thaw it out, so I'm going to do that here in a couple hours after I get things thawed out. I'll fill in one little worm there. So basically inside here I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of bedding, then some really good chopped up fine food. I mean, stuff that's already been broken down a little bit, stuff that's really ready for the worms to eat. You don't want to be adding fresh vegetables in here because I mean it'll take a week before the worms will even want to go into it. So you want to put stuff in here that they can eat immediately. And I'll throw a little bit of worm chow in with it and make it a pretty tempting treat here right in the center. We'll give this a week. Well, this is Sunday, so we'll come back next weekend. We'll take a look, and again, this tray doesn't look like there's an awful lot of worms in it, so we'll see how it works out and how many worms are in there. I'm going to do the same thing for these other 4 trays that are here, so I'm going to have 3 of these bins. Okay, here's 3 mortar trays already. I still have to put some more food in it once it thaws out. I'll fill these up completely with some bedding and, again, really tasty food, stuff that's ready for them to eat. Right now I just have some frozen lettuce that I pulled out, that I crumbled up, and a little bit of worm chow. So there's number 1. Number 2. And again, I mean, you look at those castings, they look really nice. It doesn't seem like there's that many worms in here. I mean, as I dumped them in, I definitely saw some worms, but I really would think that there's not that many. But so we'll let this sit for a week, and next Sunday I'll take a look and see what kind of results we get. So this is Tom from VermiBag. I'll see you next week. Ciao.